Yes, hello, I am Wes Dawson, this is Gabagool Nate, and I would like to welcome you to what is surely going to be one of the most fun and exciting episodes I have done to date. So this episode is aptly titled, G8 Raw Doggin' It.
Diggity dog.
Don't be mistaken, I am not talking about my number one fan request or my first 3 years at summer camp as a child. I'm talking about an experimental new episode where I have no notes, I have no subjects planned, I have nothing on the books for this episode. We are going raw dog. So in the spirit of that, I think the first thing I'm going to do is just some scat singing for the first 6 minutes to try and fill time. Scoop, 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 bop, bop, scoop, doop, dap, dap, doop, bop, bop, hop, doop, dap, scoop, bop, hop, doop, doop, gop, doop, mop. Actually, I think I'm going to save that for its own episode. I think 8 minutes of me scat singing is probably something that the internet really needs right now. So here I am. For those of you who maybe aren't following my Instagram stories, well, first off, go fuck yourselves. No, I'm joking, but seriously, it's quality entertainment. Well, when I'm motivated to do so. Sometimes I just kind of post random crap just to have something up there. But for those of you who have been following it, you may know that I have moved my entire permanent life into a Quincy that I have built outside. For those of you who are not from the Great White North, a Quincy is basically, I'm sure this is the worst way to say it, and I'll probably have my video flagged. It's like a white man igloo. It's pretty much, instead of an igloo, which is probably a lot more work, a lot warmer, and just generally a lot cooler, it's a giant pile of snow. You pile up snow, you let it sinter. I think the word sinter is sinter. I think it's sinter. Anyway, the snow sits for 90 minutes, 2 hours, and then you hollow it out, keeping the walls approximately a foot thick to allow airflow through it and this and that. It's a giant snow fort outside. And so I moved my life into it, everything but my podcast studio. That's supposed to be next week. I'm going to try and build like a second hub alongside of it for the podcast equipment. To be brutally honest, it's very hard living in there, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to record in there, but this is the decision I have made. So being in my original podcast studio is certainly a welcome experience, as there's heating and, 4 walls and a roof above my head. So what to discuss? Where do we go from here? What's bubbling on the Wes Dawson stovetop? Come to think of it, I can't really think of any particular subject I'd want to discuss right now. I'm wondering if the whole point of this episode is just to trail on about nothing for 8 minutes and see if anybody notices that there really was no actual subject or topic to be had. I debated having a special guest, making a phone call of some type. But even that I can't be bothered to do. My phone is literally like an inch out of my reach, and I'm worried if I actually reach for it, I may slightly inconvenience myself. So I'm just going to wing it from here on out. Pop-up from Netflix. Hey, new season of Riverdale. Well, thank you. I haven't watched it in years, so I think that's very relevant for them. You gotta love these shows where they start out with like, oh, there's one murder in town. Oh yes, spoiler alert. I've already kind of ruined it, but rewind 10 seconds. Spoiler alert. So there's like a little murder in town. Oh my god, Archie and the gang, they gotta fucking have a threesome with Betty and Veronica, whatever they do. But then the last season I watched, it turned into like, people are just, it's like The Purge. And I'm like, how do these shows get so far off the rails in a couple seasons? I don't get it. I know I pitched an idea for a sitcom where basically I played every character on the show. And obviously no one responded to my pitch, because who the fuck am I to be sending a television pitch to anybody? But also it was just a terrible idea. To explain why this episode is so different from my normal episodes, I'll just kind of briefly explain the process for me creating episodes of Gabagool. So I'll wake up, early. You don't waste daylight. Let me tell you that one thing. You guys want to be successful in life, you don't waste a second of your life sleeping or messing around or whatever you want to do. So like the crack of a whip, I am up at 10:30. So I wake up, I look in the mirror, and when I'm done explaining in great detail all the reasons why I truly do hate myself, I think, what are we going to talk about today? So I'll jot down a couple notes. If I have a subject, say the subject is colors. We want to talk about blues, oranges, your dog dick reds, that really bright. It's almost like brighter than fire engine red. It's like a double take kind of red. Pretty sure it was Dave Attell who brought the shade of dog dick red into the public consciousness. Anyway, that kind of red. I jot down a couple notes. I head to the studio. And then I let it rip. Whereas this, I have nothing. I have nothing. It much like my love life, much like my family life, much like the giant void inside my soul, I have nothing today. I have nothing to grab onto, nothing to run with, nothing to discuss. Instead, let's just look at the, top 10 most Googled things in 2020. First off, what I noticed is you guys need to read some fucking books. Like, 4 of the things are all coronavirus. Coronavirus updates, symptoms. Those are like basically the same fucking thing. Election results and Kobe Bryant. Like, those are the most Googled. That blows my mind. Election results, well, if I'm correct, that guy who used to host Tales from the Crypt won, I'm pretty sure. You know, he's kind of wrinkly there, scraggly looking guy. He'd scared the shit out of me when I was 7 years old. You know, peeking through the stairwell railing as my dad was watching Tales from the Crypt just before he slipped on to a Nuit Bleu or Skinamax or what have you. But make no mistake about it, the host from Tales of the Crypt is leaps and bounds better than Lubdan, the leprechaun. You know, the bad guy from the movie Leprechaun. Yeah, this top 10 is wretched. It's terrible. I'm honestly embarrassed to go beyond those 3 items I listed. Wow, that's some weak sauce. I'm sorry about that. Well, you know what? It's about that time. I think I'm going to get that jingle rolling because it's the end of the episode. I hope you guys liked it. This is basically just me yapping for 7.5 minutes. If this is the first episode you ever listened to, I apologize greatly, and I am filled with much shame. And if you've been listening to it from the start, or you've heard multiple episodes, you would know that I feel no shame. So, enjoy this one. Have a great time. Listen, like, subscribe. Please share it with a friend, share it with a family member. Call up a girlfriend you had a very messy breakup with and tell her, you know, had you been listening to Gabagool and 8, maybe we'd still be together. Thank you so much. I'm Wes Dawson. This has been Gabagool and 8.